Section 6.2 is on conversion of measurements within the U.S. customary system. Conversion of measurements. So this actually is a lot more problematic than converting measurements in the metric system. The U.S. customary system is much more complicated. You'll notice the U.S. customary system was originally the British imperial system until the British stopped using it. At this point, pretty much the only places where the U.S. customary system is still used is the United States and I think Myanmar. There are one or two small island nations that still use it. So, slowly but surely, metric system is making inroads, but it's a slow process. So, what we end up using is, we notice that 1 mile is equal to 5,280 feet. One yard is equal to 3 feet. 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. And so these all have abbreviations. We notice 1 mile we can abbreviate as 1 mi, that's where 1 yard can be abbreviated as 1 yd. 1 foot you'll see more often as 1 ft. 1 inch can be abbreviated inch can be abbreviated as 1 in. So you actually notice that the 1 yard equaling 3 feet also lets us know we can also write 1 mile as being 1,760 yards. That's also perfectly valid. So what you'll notice is that if we want to convert from one distance to another, we have to work a lot harder. We notice that if we want to say convert 243 yards to feet, we notice we have to take that 243 yards. So a nice technique for this is to think of it as 1 yard matches with 3 feet. We notice that we can treat the yards like they're variables, so they go away, and we get 243 divided by 1 is 243. 243 times 3 gives us 729 feet. And similarly, if we wanted to convert 243 feet to yards, we could go the other direction. We notice that we could say 243 feet we can draw that same box. We could say 1 yard matches up with 3 feet. Again, get rid of the feet, treat those like variables, and we wind up getting 81 yards. You'll notice that there are several approaches to this. The textbook has a staircase system, kind of like it has for metric. You'll notice that for the US system, the staircase method is not quite as intuitive. It's not just nice, neat factors of 10 or powers of 10. So if we wanted to convert, say, 200 inches into feet, we notice that this method I used for, we're not always going to get nice, neat integers. We notice that if we start with that 200 inches, we could say 1 foot is 12 inches. And so we find out that the inches go away again. We get 200 divided by 12 feet. And so we could simplify that a little bit. We notice that's going to be 100 divided by 6 feet, which is 50 divided by 3 feet, which then finally gets us to 16 2/3 feet. Or if you felt like it, you could think of it as being 16 feet 8 inches. So always depends on what format we're looking at. And so again, we notice that if we were so unfortunate as to want to convert 2 miles to inches, now we have a multi-stage process. Now we're going to start with the 2 miles, and we have to first notice that 1 mile is 5,280 feet, and then we notice that 1 foot is 12 inches, and so we're going to get 2 times 5280 gives us 10,560 feet. And then to get the number of inches, we have to take that 10,560, multiply it by 12. We're going to wind up getting 0, 12, 11, 1, 2, so we get 21,120. And then we're going to add on the 0, 6, 5, 0, 1. And so we'll get 0, 2, 7, 6, 2, 1. So it turns out to be 126,720 inches. So you notice measuring the number of inches in a mile using a little 1-inch measuring stick would not be a very time-friendly task. That's why it's nice to do as multiplication. And so again, your textbook focuses on length. We'll just mention as a side note that if we're interested in, the US system doesn't really use mass. Oddly enough, the mass measurement for the US system for US is slugs. No one ever actually uses that measurement anymore. It's more just a item of amusement. What the US system uses instead is weight. Is given 1 ton is 2,000 pounds. 1 pound is equal to 16 ounces. And then you'll notice that there are various archaic measurement systems. It's possible to convert ounces into things like grams and grains. But that gets to be strange. You won't typically see that outside of very archaic measurement systems. So we notice that if we wanted to know 3 tons, 3 tons would wind up being the same thing as if we wanted to know that as blank pounds. We know that we were getting 3 tons times 1 ton matches 2,000 pounds. The tons cancel out, and so we wind up getting 6,000 pounds. And so the nice thing about this system is that if you don't get the target unit that we wanted, we know something has gone wrong. If we wind up getting 3 tons is equal to some number, so 3 2,000ths tons squared per pound, something has gone wrong. Because there's virtually no reason to ever measure things in tons squared per pound. In math, we don't like to say never, but tons squared per pound, I have never ever seen an application for that. And then more practical is if we had 4 pounds, we want to know how many ounces that is. If we want to convert 4 pounds to ounces, we know that there are 16 ounces to 1 pound. And so we wind up getting 64 ounces. You have to be careful though, we're going to talk in just a moment. You notice that these ounces are for weight. You'll notice that we'll talk just briefly. We can also think of volume in the US system. Is given by 1 gallon is 4 quarts. 1 quart is 2 pints. 1 pint is 2 cups. 1 cup is 8 fluid ounces. And you notice that 1 fluid ounce is 2 tablespoons, and 1 tablespoon is 3 teaspoons. So I mentioned this just so you're aware of it. You're not actually going to get any questions about this on any exams. You notice that if we wanted to convert from 1 gallon to ounces, it is not an easy task. We notice that we have to start with 1 gallon. Then we have to know that 1 gallon is the 4 quarts. 1 quart is 2 pints. 1 pint is 2 cups. 1 cup is 8 fluid ounces, so I should say fluid ounces. And so we finally find that we get 1 times 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, times 8 gives us 128 fluid ounces. And then just to mention it, we notice why would we use fluid ounces for volume and ounces for weight. We notice that 16 fluid ounces of water have a weight of 16 ounces equals 1 pound. So we noticed that water was a convenient way of measuring weight, and so it was easy to tie fluid ounces to regular ounces.